Happy Sunday. Hey, this is what we feel like. My connection. Travel to the country, every step on the entrance. Your water, your tea, your coffee, your pumpkin, your biscuit, still familiar with me. We have a very special treat over here going to be daydreaming today. Welcome, welcome, welcome in. Happy Sunday. Or, in case you're watching the playback, whatever day it is, make it a happy one. Welcome to Daydreaming Out Loud. I am incredibly excited to be in session with you all again. We did one session last year around freedom. It was just like a moment that I had that I felt led to share, but we are back and we're going to be back consistently. This is going to be our shared new moon ritual. Okay, if you don't know, today is the new moon. I won't get all deep into what that is, but what I will share is in my personal practice, I use the new moon time as an opportunity to set intentions, to slow down a bit, get clear about what I'm moving towards and what feel like the next steps, the natural next steps is what I was trying to say. And I'm inviting you into that practice. If you've been following me here on my YouTube journey, in this season, we are doing, let me move this incense, it's blowing smoke in my face. I have been doing a series called How to Reinvent Yourself. And I have been, until now, sharing reflections on what that process has been. What does it mean to reinvent yourself, redefine yourself from the inside out, right? We've gone on this journey of thinking about my creative values, because that's really what I'm leaning into in this season. It's my creative voice and figuring out what it is she has to say and how she wants to go about saying it. And again, if you've been following me, then you know that that's through writing. And so I've been doing a lot of that. But um, as I mentioned, until this point, I've been sharing reflections on the journey. And now I feel ready to give glimpses into my journey. And that includes sharing my practices with you. Um, Again, what it means for me and what it looks like, what it feels like, and what it requires of me to really reinvent myself. Because for me, my belief is that for change to be sustainable, it can't just happen at the level of behavior. It has to happen at the level of identity. How am I redefining the story of who I am to include this new narrative that reflects the direction that I'm heading in? How do I expand my sense of self to hold a broader understanding that, again, integrates some ideas that maybe have lived on the fringes for a while and have kind of been present. But there's a difference between something being there, like, right, a gift, you having a gift, and then activating that gift. And so that is the season that I'm in right now when it comes to my creative self, just activating that gift. And daydreaming is a huge part of my process because I believe you cannot create a vision until you see it clearly. And daydreaming for me is not just about seeing, it's also about feeling. So, the session that we're going to go through today, that I'm going to guide you through, is going to really invite you to not only see, but to feel the vision. And specifically, what we're talking about today is what it feels like to be safe in connection. So, for those of you who have been with me before, you'll know that I like to give a little context for, why this topic, right? And then give a little bit of insight into how this fits into sort of a larger understanding of the idea or the topic that we're covering. And then we move into our daydreaming session together where we hold space for our big visions and imaginations around what safety and connection can look like. And then, of course, we have a little chit chat after to see what we feel, what we discovered, and what we're taking away from the session. So feel free, please, to chat with me here if it feels moved. You feel moved to do that, right? If you have comments, if you have questions, if you have insights that you want to share, if you just want to let me know that you're here, you're tuned in, you're present, and you can hear me. Just if you want to do all of that. As a matter of fact, if you are there, just let me know. Drop a little hello in the chat. Um, I want to also remind you that this is happening inside of a larger community. So, this month in the text community, we have been talking about reclaiming interdependence, right? I mentioned that a lot of people I've been noticing are unplugging. They are making a mass exodus off of these sort of online platforms, right? For a number of different reasons. Folks are looking for more, connection in real life. Folks are not necessarily as comfortable with feeling like they're being constantly watched and observed, right, by some of these platforms and the privacy settings and all those things, right? So there's a number of reasons, right? The rise in AI content, folks are like, I don't know what to trust anymore. I don't know what's real, what's not. So people are kind of moving away from some of these digital platforms and looking to move back into in real life, in person connections. But something that I see a lot in my practice as a psychologist working with clients, and then just something that I observe from being around other human beings and just noticing and experiencing certain interactions, it's like, okay, I think that when we think about the context for how um, we relate and connect more recently in the last, I don't know, 10 plus years has been digital, right? So we've had that kind of screen in between us has been one thing. Certainly the last few years with the pandemic, people having to kind of social distance, and that really changed the way that we interact and you sort of just gather and get together, right? And just a number of other factors, right? Like just increasingly separated by screens in the way that we learn, the way that we work, the way that we interact, even dating. I was having a conversation recently and everybody was like, yeah, what apps are you on? And I was like, what? No, what's happening? Apps, not me. Right. Which is not a judgment. It was just a bit of a shock, I think, to hear that has become the norm. Like I know that people do it, but it's not necessarily as common in my immediate friend circle. And I guess I just haven't talked about it in a broader circle to realize how common it is that folks are dating online to the degree that that's like the first question, right? If you're dating, the assumption is, what apps are you using? And I was like, oh, none. Right. And so then folks are like, how are you meeting people? And I'm like, I'm going outside and I'm not even really like an outside person, right? Like I'm not going to clubs and parties and any of those things. I honestly couldn't tell you where I go other than like out to meals with my friends or things like that. But somehow I'm meeting people in real life. And anyway, so just looking at how we relate and connect and how we are interacting with one another and realizing that the digital aspect of it has really changed the way we understand connection. And as we're now going back out to look for that in person connection, I'm noticing a lot of folks really have not sharpened the skills. And there's a sense of safety that we've lost um, because of the distance that we've experienced or that disconnect that we've experienced because a lot of our interactions have been through a digital screen, right? So I really want to talk about that today and give us space. As I mentioned, we've been kind of exploring this topic this month in the text community, asking questions like, how do we know what safety feels like, right? Recognizing that connection requires vulnerability and vulnerability requires safety. And safety stems from trust, right? So it's about building trust, which takes time, but it also takes effort, right? So it's like what I trust you with in the beginning might not be a whole lot. It might just be that I trust you to show up when you say you're going to show up. We say we're meeting at 7. I trust you're going to show up at 7. And I'm giving you that. And if you don't show up enough times, then maybe we don't grow past that, because what I've now learned is I can't trust you, right? So the trust grows as we deepen our relationship with folks, and we kind of have to like test the waters a little bit at each level with what we trust a person with. So if we're talking about building community, if we're talking about even the dating and looking for intimacy and connection, it requires vulnerability, which really stems from a sense of safety, and safety is built on trust. And so, how do we know that we can trust someone? What does that look and feel like when we are in connection with people that we trust and feel safe with? And so, I want us to take some space and some time today to imagine that, to give ourselves an opportunity to feel that, so that we can begin to develop what I call an inner compass, right? Like, not necessarily always assessing someone's behavior as a sense of whether or not you can trust them, because people perform safety a lot, right? Until a situation occurs where they're no longer able to perform and put on that show, right? And then you see the true colors and you're like, oh, how did I miss it? And then you do the like, oh, there were signs, right? But if we create an internal compass where even if there isn't outward evidence in someone else's behavior, but we have that sort of, mm, I don't know, I'm not sure, or we have that, yeah, I know we just met, but there's something about this that creates a sense of safety, right? As a person who facilitates large groups in different ways, right? Whether it's educational or retreats or different things, like, there is a sense of safety that I have to be able to convey quite quickly for folks to open up and to get to the work that we need to get to, usually in short amount of time, right? Whether it's a short workshop or even if we have a couple days, that's still not a lot of time to really get to know someone, to build a trust where you can get the deep work done. So I have to kind of be able to create a sense of safety, right? And that's a part of the way that I lead in spaces. So I have a bit to say about this, just in terms of the value and importance of it. But this is not about that. This is about creating space for us to feel internally, right? This is not about my sort of what I want to tell you. This is what I want you to tap into, that you already own, that's already yours, that's already within you, right? And so, if that feels good to you, we're going to move into the session in just a moment. But before we do that, as I mentioned, we are having this conversation in my text community behind the scenes. And so, if you want to join me there, or if you want to continue the conversation after our session today, then I'm going to encourage you to find me on Instagram at Joy Hearts. Here on YouTube, where you are now, you can find me at Hey Dr. Joy, or you can text Hey Dr. Joy to 323-629-8508. All of these are ways that you can find me and connect with me and follow up with me and share your insights and your experiences, particularly because I would love for you to share this with someone. So you can invite them to join us here now on the live stream. You can share the replay when it comes up, or you can share the practice. Invite somebody into a live daydreaming session with you. You can cover this topic or whatever topic you want to cover. So again, I hope you'll find me on Instagram, follow me here on YouTube, or join us in the text community by texting Hey Dr. Joy to 323-629-8508. So with that said, we are doing this all in the name of collective visions. And right now, we are focused on a collective vision around what it means to be safe in connection. If you have ideas about that, if you already know what you need to feel safe in connection and you want to share those insights in the chat, I encourage you to do that. I can see them and I am happy to hear from you. So, that said, wherever you are, if it feels safe and comfortable for you to do so, I am going to invite you to close your eyes and or lower your soften your gaze, right? Find something to focus on. Again, if it feels safe and comfortable for you to do so, I'm going to invite you to plant your feet firmly on the ground, to take a deep breath in and exhale. And soften your shoulders. Take a few more breaths, feet firm, breath slow, shoulders soft, feet firm, breath slow, shoulders soft. Let yourself soften into this moment. Give yourself permission to be light. Let yourself drift. Keep breathing. All right. So I want you to call into your mind's eye a vision of a place where you feel safe. It could be a place that you have visited before. It can be a place you go to all the time. It can be an imaginary place that you make up in your mind right now. But in this moment, I want you to call into your mind's eye. What do you see in this space? Are you inside? Is there furniture? Are you outside in nature? What do you see in this safe place? What colors? What shapes? What textures? Who is there in this safe place with you? Is there anyone there? Is there anyone that you would like to see there? It could be someone you know, or it could be someone you're calling in. Who is with you in your safe place? What is your relationship to this person? And when you are in their presence, how do you feel? What sensations arise in your body? What emotions can you identify? What thoughts begin to arise? What are you noticing in the presence of this person with whom you feel safe? What qualities do they have that allow you to feel safe? Are they warm? Are they kind? Are they honest, friendly, wise? Maybe they're emotionally intelligent. What kinds of qualities do people need to possess for you to feel safe in their presence? How do those qualities present in your interactions? What are signs that a person embodies the qualities that help you to feel safe in connection with them? Is it how they speak to you? Is it how they show up for you? Is it how they protect you? Continue to fill in the details of what safety and connection looks and feels like for you. See yourself showing up as a person who feels safe. How is your posture when you feel safe? How do you move in your body when you feel safe? How's your energy when you feel safe? Are you jovial and excited? Or are you grounded and calm? Are you open and silly? Are you quiet and pensive? What version of you is allowed to blossom when you feel safe in connection? Keep breathing. Keep allowing the vision to expand. Inhale and exhale. Continue to hold this vision in your mind's eye and notice how your body feels. Perhaps if you are feeling safe in this moment, this is what safety feels like in your body. Perhaps you take a note of that and carry this wisdom with you and use this moment as a reference for what safety feels like. And if it's true now, it should be true in every moment where safety is present. As we begin to slowly come out of this session, begin to see your safe place spread all around you until you feel yourself immersed in this vision. Maybe you wiggle your fingers and toes, start to move into your body again. And if your eyes are closed, whenever you feel ready, feel free to open them again. Right. Welcome back, easing back into the reality of the present moment. Grateful to have shared this brief reflection with you. I hope that you have a sense of clarity and embodiment around what safety looks and feels like for you, and that you can carry this wisdom into your interactions and use it as a guide and a compass for whether or not you feel safe. And remember that you might feel safe in one instance, but not necessarily in others. And that's okay, right? Because there's different varying levels of vulnerability across different aspects of life, right? And so where we feel open and ready to share in one way, we might not in other ways. And that's okay. And it's why it's important to have this internal compass so that you're not applying pressure to yourself to show up in some universal way across every domain of your life, right? We're developing in different ways constantly. And as we're growing and evolving, maybe we're entering a new level of ourselves, whether that's in our careers or in our creativity or even in our community, right? Leaning in and opening ourselves up to the possibility of new connections, friendships, romantic relationships, working relationships, right? Professional opportunities. As we open ourselves up to these things, finding a sense of safety in how we navigate new worlds and new possibilities is incredibly empowering because it really allows us to operate in the autonomy and the agency to say, this feels right and I want to move forward, or this doesn't, and I don't have to use some other external metric for determining that, right? Like I have an internal metric that I can use, that I can lean on, and that I can trust because I've built a relationship by engaging in practices like this. So I do want to encourage you to continue to daydream or mindfully call into your mind's eye what safety and connection feels like. Keep coming back. Maybe you see a new face, maybe you find yourself in a new environment, but keep coming back to this practice of seeing it because before you can build it, you have to see it, you have to believe it. And that comes from taking the space to really allow your mind to create what is possible so that then You can align your actions to be able to actually create that vision. And with that in mind, here's what I want to invite you to. Perhaps you saw in your vision a person that you know, that you feel safe with, and you want to express to them the gratitude for creating an environment in your connection where you can feel safe with them. Maybe you reach out to them and you let them know. Or maybe there is someone, maybe you didn't see them, but when you think about the qualities of what it means to create safety, maybe you know someone who does embody those qualities. Maybe you reach out to them and you let them know. You say, you know what? I just did a daydreaming session around finding safety and connection, and I realized that you embody so many, if not all, of the qualities that I need to feel safe in connection and relationship. And I'm grateful to have you. And I would like to invite you into this practice with me so that we can share a mutual, reciprocal sense of safety in our relationship, right? Or maybe you just want to practice vulnerability. You want to practice building trust and creating safety with the people that you're connected to. So perhaps you invite them to share this practice, because closing your eyes and imagining and seeing your most big, bold, beautiful vision can be quite vulnerable as a way to share. I can certainly say that it has been vulnerable for me to consider showing up here with all of you to share. So perhaps you want to practice vulnerability by inviting someone in to a daydreaming out loud session, and you can vision what it feels like to access safety in connection with others. So, again, I encourage you to share this practice. And if you want to share it and you want to share your reflections with me, again, I invite you to find me on social. You can drop me a line and a message and say, you know what, I tried that visualization around safety and connection, and here's what I discovered, and here's what we shared, or here's what it was. So you can find me on social. You can, of course, leave a comment here about your experience in the chat, or you can connect with me in my text community. We're continuing to explore this concept inside of our larger theme of this year, which is reclaiming interdependence. And of course, in order to reclaim interdependence, there has to be a sense of connection, and connection requires vulnerability. Vulnerability is really built on safety, and safety stems from trust. So we have to put ourselves in these little uncomfy positions so that we can build a foundation and invite in the type of trust, safety, and vulnerability that will lend itself to deep and meaningful connection. So, as we are on our journey this year of reclaiming interdependence, we are starting with finding safety and connection. If you want to explore that theme with us this month and follow along with exercises that I'm sharing and invitations to really practice building community, then you can text me, hey, Dr. Joy, at 323-629-8508. We would love to have you as we continue on this journey together. I also want to invite you to some of the other things that I'm having on going on in these internet streets, right? Tomorrow, I will be on Instagram Live with my friend Stevan. We're talking about our unpopular opinions. And really, what this is about is how do we begin to speak our truth without fear of cancellation, right? This is conversations without fear of cancellation. Because I do believe that there's a way for us to share our unpopular truths and our the opinions that maybe other people don't necessarily love, but in a way that is not so abrasive, right? And I think, again, along the lines of these sort of digital divides, many of us have forgotten how to be tender with one another. So we're going to be sharing some unpopular opinions. It's going to be super fun, and unpacking some of the things that, some of the norms that we just kind of subscribe to, and Steve and I are like, maybe not. Maybe not. So that'll be happening tomorrow on Instagram Live. You can find me at Joy Hearts. We will be going live at 6 p.m. Pacific time on January 19th, and the archive will be available after that if you catch this replay after the fact. I will be going live again here on YouTube next Saturday, January 24th, 2026 at 10 a.m. Pacific. That is going to be for my How to Reinvent Yourself series, where I am sharing about my real life, real time process of reinventing myself and really leaning into my creative voice as a writer. And so this episode is going to be about finding your muse. And I'm going to be sharing about one of my current muses, Ryan Coogler, and I have been obsessed. Okay, for months now, and really longer than that, but deeper dive since the Kodak video. And when I say the Kodak video, I hope you know exactly what I'm talking about because it blew my mind, right? Like, but if you don't know, then just Google or type in the search box right here on YouTube, Ryan Coogler and Kodak, and you are in for a treat. It's about 10 minutes long. I highly encourage you to watch it, especially if you intend to join me on the live next Saturday at 10 a.m., because that's going to be our jumping off point for where this all came from. And I share some clips and other things. Yeah, I'll be in person as well. So again, if you just follow me online, you can find out all these things. But this series, Daydreaming Out Loud, will be a monthly series on the day of the new moon. So I believe next month that's going to be February 17th. So join me here for that. Stay tuned, stay close for the time announcement, because what day of the week that is depends on what time I'll be available, because such is life. Um, yeah, so stay tuned. And also Seen and Known. Ooh, forgot about Seen and Known. Seen and Known is also a new series. I told you I'm gonna be in these internet streets. And I am specifically leaning into streaming because it just feels more accessible, and I'm excited about the real-time opportunities to interact and connect with all of you. So Seen and Known will be a conversation series about exactly that. What is it like to really not just be seen, right? Again, in this world where people can watch our lives, we share our meals, we share our workouts, we share our vacations, we share our moments, right? But there's a difference between being seen and then being known. And so we want to explore what are those differences and what are those depths, and how can we create spaces for us to not just feel seen and consumed by people, but also known in some kind of real way. So that's going to be coming up, and I'm looking at, I think, the 31st. So a couple more times in January for us to connect here in the space. And I intend to keep the party going moving into February, again with Daydreaming Out Loud, being on the new moon, with How to Reinvent Yourself on the 22nd or somewhere as close to that as possible. I can't do the 22nd this month because I'll be traveling. So the 24th it is, but I'm excited to connect with all of you and share where I've been on my journey, and specifically how I've been inspired by Ryan Coogler over the last few months. And Seen and Known is talking about sharing the ugly parts, right? Sharing the parts that we've been afraid to share because we understand that that's what's necessary to really be known, right? To really be known. And it's kind of along the lines of this same conversation of finding safety and connection, right? So we're building on that and why that's so valuable and important. So I hope to see you on one or all of these streams somewhere on YouTube or Instagram. In the meantime, thank you so much for being present. Don't forget to text me if you want to join the community and continue the conversation, or follow me online here at you on YouTube or on Instagram to drop me your thoughts if you were here and participated in this session. I deeply appreciate the opportunity to share this space with all of you. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for sharing this practice with me. And I'm looking forward to being in practice with you again for Daydreaming Out Loud in February. And stay tuned for the announcements for when and where you can find me. Okay? Until next time. Cheers.